Hi everyone, I just wanted to review a trade I took today, this new earnings eruption trade. I took the past 2 years to test this trade along with several other ones, actually dozens of other ones, and this one tended to be the best performer time and again. And the latest back testing that I've done on this shows that. And the trade came up today. It only comes up every, probably 5, 10 times per month. And it has a very high probability of success. And there's a whole series of qualifications. And I noticed that Best Buy actually met all the qualifications, although the float was pretty large. And I knew it was going to be a slow mover and take a while for this trade to complete because of the float, but was trading really nicely in the morning. And this pre-market pattern here was not too bad. It was making lower highs as we are going into the open though, and that was a concern. And so I definitely wanted to see it break above 58 before going into a trade. There's also a trade here between about 57.50 here to the pre-market high, that little gap there, but it wasn't really large enough for me to be so interested in that. But yeah, Best Buy had a big earnings beat today. They had a beat on the top line, bottom line. It's a stock above 20. I'm going to show you another stock here below 20 that didn't work out, which is pretty common with this trade. But once it hit the pre-market high, it started to just grind higher, and it really stayed above the 9-period VWAP. This is a 5-minute chart here, and this is a 9-period VWAP, this orange line here. And when the stock got off to a start, I knew it would be kind of a slow grinder, and it didn't really break back to the VWAP like I expected. It just kind of continued to grind higher, and then moved sideways, and then broke out again, and didn't really come back to that VWAP until later on in the morning, which is pretty strong. So at that point, I was thinking, you know what, this may trend higher into not only the rest of today, but also may trend higher tomorrow, may break all-time highs again tomorrow and make another move then. So I kept it, and I just kept my entire position through all this, knowing that this trend was really strong, and we haven't seen a lower high yet even, and we didn't see the typical pullback from about 11:30, 12 to 1 o'clock. In fact, it went higher through that period too, and you see that sometimes when you have a real strong earnings beat. And once I looked at the fundamentals, I'm not really so interested in qualifying the actual value of the company before going into the trade. I'll look at some of the basic metrics. But if I'm seeing the pre-market pattern like this, if I'm seeing the beat on the top and bottom line, if I'm seeing the long-term trend very strong, and a few other factors, if it breaks that pre-market high, I'm definitely going to probably jump in the trade unless it just is not liquid enough. But once I did look at the fundamentals, I was pretty surprised to see that it had still a very reasonable PE ratio and a pretty high dividend yield too, along with it. So at that point, I thought, you know what, this could go up to 18, 20 times earnings, current earnings per share, which after this report is probably going to be for this year closer to $4 a share. We're talking, $70 to $80 this stock could go to. Maybe not today or in the days ahead, but sometime in the weeks ahead, it could go there. So it has a lot of room to run. And given that, I decided to keep the trade for a longer period of time, and that's really worked out in this case. But I also want to show you another trade too that I saw yesterday that I didn't take. Kind of give you an idea. I can't explain everything in one video, but I can kind of show you another setup that a lot of traders probably looked at and liked because it was under $10, and those under $10 stocks can make big moves, but they tend to be a lot more risky, and most of the top patterns like this, the top day trading setups don't work as well or as often. And we can see that here on this setup. We see that the pre-market pattern wasn't quite as strong, although we had kind of a bullish inverted J pattern here with a higher low and then a higher high. So the real trade on this one was between this high right here to the pre-market highs. That little gap right there was the trade. And so I took a real small position on this around the pre-market highs, thinking it might continue to go higher, and then got out with a small loss. But I took a real small position on this because the stocks under $20 just don't tend to perform as well in my experience, and they often fail on this and other trading setups, even red and green moves and other moves. tend not to work as well. In this lower price range, you sometimes you get these really big moves out of these patterns after a big earnings beat, but it's just not as reliable. And if you want to take a big position size, you're taking a lot more risk with this. With Best Buy today, this was a very easy stock to trade with a very narrow bid-ask spread. It moved very nicely. It'll take a long time with such a big float in most cases, but you just have a much higher probability of success in these higher price ranges. With this added seeming undervaluation of the stock, it continues to grind higher. And one thing that we can do is just go ahead and drop a stop below the prior consolidation as the stock goes higher. So that's what I'll probably do as this goes higher here. I think it might have another rally in it this afternoon. I'll watch and see, and then I'll probably take half off later on this afternoon and keep the rest until it breaks the highs again tomorrow and goes up a few percent from there. But this is a great example of the type of trade that we like. I mean, obviously, if you have a lower float of less than 50 million, let's say, it's going to move much more quickly. 50 million or less, it's going to move a lot more quickly. These type of trades right now are tough to beat. And if you're not trading these earnings beats, these massive earnings beats, each earnings season, you're missing out, because if they have all the right criteria that's laid out in the course and the video course I have on this, it has a very high probability of success, and it's far and away the best day trading setup that I've come across. In fact, most traders, if you just wait for this setup and forget the rest, you could save yourself a lot of time, a lot of aggravation, a lot of commission costs, and actually make more money than trading the lesser quality stocks and trading the other patterns that just don't work as well. All right, hopefully that gives you a good idea of what to look for in the future on these trading setups and helps you out in some way. And I will talk to you again soon.